Hi, it's Rachel. It's July, and Lynn Greaveson and I have just finished creating a new series in our Hear My Voice collaboration. This month we've worked on healing, and in the LilyPad forums we are going to be sponsoring a scrapbook challenge where we're going to encourage you to mix and match our collections that we've made to date. The beauty of these collections is all of the pieces have been separated into can't get my words out, into individual packs. They're all they're all designed to work alongside each other, or they can be used obviously as cohesive standalone collections, but they do all work beautifully together. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to create a scrapbook page in Photoshop, and I thought it would be fun to record my screen process so that you can follow along with me and you can watch me mixing and matching all three of our collections: Questioning, Hurting, and the new collection, Healing. And I haven't actually planned what this page is going to look like. All I have is 3 photos ready. I've chosen a background paper, and then the rest of the process I will just be making decisions as we go along. I do apologise if you hear any banging in the background. My husband is building some furniture in Mackenzie's room, my daughter's bedroom. She's kind of outgrown her bed, so she's having a really cute like a mid-sleeper, a cabin bed. She's got a really small room, so we're building her a lovely bed with lots of storage underneath. We finished the frame, and she was so excited to sleep in it last night. Today we're just building some drawers for her clothes and some cupboards for her toys. So Simon's doing that while I'm busy working on this page. So let's jump in and have some fun together. Okay, so I've got my photos ready on the canvas here. These have already been edited on my iPhone using the Adobe Photoshop camera and the Adobe Photoshop Express applications. I've already got a background paper chosen that's hidden at the bottom of my layer palette here. So I'm just about to switch that layer on for you, and I will begin moving my photos around. What I will do is I will just look for gaps in the ready-made mixed media paper as to where I feel is a good starting point for the photos to sit, and then I will start building my page around those decisions. So I'm just going to line the photos up and just move them around where I feel is comfortable, and I'm now going to add some shadow styles that I have from Mommyish at the LilyPad. These are her 2020 styles. They include fun gradients and shadows that lift off the page. So I'm just making the shadows here a little bit darker and longer, and I'm copying and pasting the layer style from one photo layer to the others so that they've all got the same settings. And now we're going to start adding some layers. I'm choosing here a textured stamp from the mixed media pack in the Healing collection. I'm just going to use that to add some texture behind my photos. I'm going to bring in one of Lynn's mixed media elements, some tape with some gesso paste and a text fragment, and pull that behind the bottom photo. I'm going to bring in some more of Lynn's paint from the mixed media pack and use that behind the final photo. I'm going to adjust the blending mode so that the paint brings through some of the texture of the background paper and makes it more cohesive. I'm also going to play around with the colour of the element to try and bring in some colours from the photographs. And I'm going to experiment here with the blending modes to make that suit. I'd like the elements to be much darker for contrast, so I'm just adjusting the curve, which makes the element nice and dark. I'm not quite happy with the sizing of that. It's a little bit too overpowering, so I'm just going to have a little play with the scale, the position, and I think I might make it a little bit darker again. So let's just fix that element up until I'm happy with it. Let's make it a bit smaller and reposition it. Make it a little bit darker. Okay, let's start adding some of the fun layers. Here I've got some messy thread, and I'm just going to have a little play to see where that looks good on the canvas. I think I'll add it over here. Just add a shadow. I'm going to bring in a staple to attach my photo and my threads to my background paper. So I'm just going to pull that in here and move it through the layers palette so that it sits on the top. Again, add a shadow. Start bringing in some word prompts to theme the page. I'm just going to make this a bit smaller. Decide where to place that. A little bit lost down there, I think. Let's try under the staple. Make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to turn it around a little bit. Tuck it in there and add a shadow. I'm now going to bring some interest into the background paper by blending one of Lynn's papers with my collage paper. And by changing the blending mode, we can mix the textures together and we can really make the stamps of her paper dominant, and these add a fantastic design element to my page. I'm going to bring in some more stamps to create some more interest. So I'm just going to resize this and just drag it around the canvas and decide what I think looks right. And bring it over this side. I think I'll add it in here behind the clouds. I think I like it there, but I don't like the stripes. So I'm just going to do some erasing, I think. And just take out some of the pieces that I don't want visible from that element. I like the text, but I don't think I necessarily want all of it. So let's just start erasing. Just take a bit more away. I'd like to follow the text through onto the other side of the page. So I think I'm going to actually duplicate this element and pop some of it under the other photo as well. Next, I'm going to bring in some paper pieces. Here's one of Lynn's striped paper piece elements. I'm just going to reduce the scale of this so that I can pull it in and add some interest behind the photos. Just add a few more layers that have got a little bit more dimension and just see where that suits best. I'm just going to move that above the gesso layer, but actually I think I'm just going to scale it a little bit more so it just peeks out from one side of the photo and not both sides. Add a shadow. I'm going to add a few elements at the top of the canvas because it just feels like there's just so much space up there, and there isn't any interest in comparison to the areas of the page. So I'm just going to choose another striped element. The whiteness of this element is very different from the rest of the page, so I'm going to use the selective colour tool to adjust the white to make it brighter. And I'm also going to tweak the black and just make that a bit darker. And then move that into position. I'm going to add a shadow to that element. And I think for this particular element, I'm going to create a layer for the shadow all on its own so that I can warp it. I just want to pull the corner down a little bit more so that the shadow looks like it, so that the element, sorry, looks like it's lifted off the page. So I'm just going to tweak the shape of the shadow behind the paper piece. Just going to grab some machine stitching to attach the paper piece to the background paper. I've made these on my sewing machine. They're very realistic threads. I love how they add such contrast to the page, and we'll add a little plastic button on top as well. Give that a shadow. And reposition it slightly. I'm hesitating now because I'm not actually happy with the way that I've blended the two background papers together. Those big X's, those painted X's, they're just so purple because they are using the colour burn mode. So I'm just going to change my settings on that paper layer. I've rasterised it, so it came in as a smart element because I dragged it onto the canvas. So I'm just going to rasterise it so that I can make some more changes to this paper. I'm going to desaturate it, and I'm going to play with the blend modes so that the stamps are actually black. And you'd never know that two papers were blended together. It literally just looks like there's lots and lots of stamp and painty work. I'm going to bring in another word bit. Make it a little bit smaller. See where I think that looks good. Add a shadow. I just want to bridge the gap now between the two sets of photos. There just seems to be a gap in the middle. And because there's so much heavy stamp work on the left, I'm just going to add an inky splatter in between the two rows of photos just to fill that gap. And I'm nearly done now, to be honest. I've nearly finished the page now. I'm just going to add some more dimension by adding some shiny beads with a little bit of a heavier shadow. And I think I'm going to go and grab some sequins as well to go underneath the other photo. Just make those a little bit smaller and move them into position. I think we just need to change the layers, the layer order, because those are sitting underneath some paint. So just move those up a little bit. And the final tweak is I just want to move the photo up a little bit so everything's just not so lined up. I just think that would look nicer. And there we have it. There's my finished page. I hope that you've enjoyed joining me whilst I created this page. It's the first time I've created a video like this. We'll have to do it more often, and hopefully the next time there won't be as many gaps and pauses. So Lynn and I hope that you'll be able to join us at the LilyPad forums. As I said, we're sponsoring a scrapbook challenge, and we would love you to experiment and mix and match the papers and elements as I've done here today. Thank you for joining me, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.